Hey guys, Jason here. So I wanted to talk today about a bit of a weird case. It's called the case of Shanti Devi. So in the beginning they thought she was just a little girl. She was born in Delhi, just ordinary, bright-eyed, shy, and, quite polite, until she actually opened her mouth and remembered a life that wasn't hers to begin with. Except it actually was. So she told her teachers her real husband's name. She told her parents that she had a son, and she said she died during childbirth. And they all laughed, right? And she said she could take them to the house where she used to live. It was actually down the street. So she went down to the actual door, and the family followed her there. Just to let you guys know, this is not a legend. It's not a scripture from any of the texts. This is actually 1930s India, and Shanti Devi was only 9 years old at the time. The case would actually draw attention from Gandhi himself, and it would shake the British Raj completely. It would nearly be erased from modern history altogether. Because if she was right, if she was actually right, and if she did actually come back from death, then karma isn't a theory at all. It's law. Yeah. Alright, so let's start from the beginning. So Shanti Devi was born in Delhi in 1926, and by the age of 4, she started speaking about a completely different life altogether. She said she wasn't from Delhi, but she was born in another city, and her real name wasn't Shanti. It was Lugdi Devi. Yeah. She'd say things like, this isn't my house, my real home is in a different city, and I have a husband, and he owns a cloth shop, and his name is Kedarnath. Yeah, very crazy. And her parents, like most modern parents would, at least at the time, thought it was just an imagination. But it didn't stop, it just kept going. She described her house, she described it in pristine detail, she knew the streets, she knew the temple, and she even knew all the rituals. She spoke of being pregnant, labor, and her own death in the hospital. This is 4 years old, right, guys? It's pretty weird. It wasn't fantasy, and I think it's evidence. It's evidence of actual samsara, reincarnation. So anyway, years passed by, and the details just kept coming and coming and coming until a teacher at her school decided that, I'm going to test the story, right? So they wrote a letter and addressed to a cloth merchant named Kedarnath. And then to everyone's complete shock, he wrote back and said his wife had died in actual childbirth 9 years earlier, exactly. And guess what her name was? It was Lugdi Devi. Just like she said. And that, I guess, is when the real investigation started. Kedarnath agreed to come to Delhi, which is weird to begin with. And he came to meet the girl claiming to be his actual dead wife. But he didn't come alone at all. He brought a friend with him, and he didn't tell Shanti who he was. He wanted to see if she would actually recognize him. And without hesitation, Shanti walked up to him, not as a friend, and said this, "Why do you bring this man with you, Kedar?" No hesitation, no confusion at all, and she knew him. And when they took her to Mathura, the city where she actually said that she was born, she led them to the exact house. The exact house. She described the layout. She named servants who had died. And she even recognized her own neighbors from the previous life. Yeah. She even pointed out where she had hidden money in the house, and money her former self had kept a secret. And they found it. So what do we do with this? Do we just dismiss it as a coincidence, like a hallucination, like some fluke of childhood memory per se? And that's when the British Raj wanted. That's exactly what they wanted. That's what the rational world actually preferred at the time, and they still do. But Gandhi, he was much different. He commissioned an entire investigation. Multiple members of parliament traveled to the city, and each one left saying the same thing. There is no natural explanation for this. They couldn't come up with anything. But then the story really didn't end there at all, because Shanti Devi didn't just remember her past. She carried its unfinished business with her as well. So, like broken bonds, longing, karma, and that's karma, right? But karma actually followed her back. So when she did reunite with Kedarnath, her husband from a previous life, there was zero romance, no reunion of souls in joy at all. There was pain. Yeah. She remembered arguments, she remembered betrayals, and how he had promised to never remarry. But he had remarried just months after her death. And she confronted him about it. As a child, accused him of breaking the vow, and he broke down. He was completely crushed. He admitted it was true, and he wept with her. And I guess in that moment, we saw something the scriptures talk about, but rarely see so clearly in a waking life, right? Not just between lives, but across them. Karma coming in full circle. The Hindus' view is not this miracle view. It's mechanics. Just as the body follows the law of gravity, the soul follows a law of karma. You plant intention, and you water it with action, and eventually, whether this life or the next, you harvest the fruit. Here's the point that most people actually miss, is it's not punishment at all. Shanti didn't come back here to suffer. She came back to complete. Yeah, to close the loop, to release a weight, and to remember not just who she was, but what she still needed to see, right? And that's why she died young in the first life, and why she was born again so soon. Because sometimes the story is too heavy to wait another century, right? Sometimes the soul doesn't want a break at all. It wants resolution. So it actually dives back into a mess, into grief, and I guess into an unfinished sentence even. And it finds the one who broke the vow. So I guess now think about this. I mean, how many children today speak of memories that don't belong to them? I was one of them. How many dreams carry images of homes you've never actually lived in? I bet there's lots. How many traumas feel like they were already here when you were born, right? I mean, we call it anxiety or we call it imagination, but maybe, just maybe, that karma is peeking through the veil. The Gita doesn't say memory dies with the body. It says this. It says, as a person sheds worn-out garments and puts on the new ones, so the soul casts off old bodies and enters new ones. But what if some of those garments still had blood on them? Right? Think about that. There are hundreds of modern reincarnations that have actually been documented, like Shanti's. I mean, not in scripture at all, but actual police records. I mean, in the 1970s, there was a young boy in Lebanon remembered being murdered in a nearby village. He actually led an investigation to the house, and he described the murder weapon. He actually named the killer himself. And yeah, guess what? They found the body, buried exactly where he said it was, with the weapon, and the killer actually ended up confessing. I don't think that's religion at all. So when people say these stories are myth, just ask them, then why do these case files just keep piling up? If it's all fake, these people aren't making this up. These are real detailed accounts. So we're not just bodies. We're stories in motion, and karma is literally the ink. Whether you remember it or not, the page is actually still turning over and over and over again. And what does it mean? That pain echoes louder than pleasure across lifetimes? It means what the sages always said to be true. Life isn't about what you experience. It's about what you resolve. And the scriptures themselves call it samskara. Impressions burned into the subtle body. So you're not just flesh. You're an actual vibration, a frequency, or even a harmony. And every action, every lie, every truth, every promise, broken or kept, you don't take the money, but you do take the imprint. And those impressions, they attract new circumstances, the precise situations required to cleanse or even complete the story altogether. So this is from the Yoga Sutras. Samskaras are the cause of the next birth. And then this is from the Upanishads. As one's own desire, so is one's own will. As is one's will, so is one's deed. And as one's deed, so is one's destiny. So you're not a victim of fate at all, right? You're the author of your rebirth. And sometimes the most painful pages are the ones you even wrote yourself. So here's what they don't teach you in school at all. The Shanti Devi's case, it didn't disappear at all. It actually got buried. Western psychology called it cryptomnesia, accidental memory formation, or a fluke, right? Even though no one could explain how a child could describe street names that she never visited, or recall exact locations of hidden jewelry her previous self had concealed, right? So no one could explain it, and so they simply just ignored it and fluffed it under the rug. Ignoring something doesn't make it go away at all, especially not karma, and especially not the truth itself, because truth doesn't even need to fight. This didn't just happen to Shanti. It actually happened to you as well. Do you feel drawn to people, that you have never met? Or even people that you just met? Do you dream of temples that maybe you've never seen? Even landscapes that you've never seen? Do you flinch at things that never happened in this life? I don't think it's a coincidence at all. It's a memory, and it's a soul memory. And the Gita calls it smriti, the remembering that comes when the mind becomes pure. And my guru said this. He said, someday, you'll find that the little voice in your head is real, and you're not. In many births, the yogis gradually purify the mind and regains the knowledge of previous lives. So you can regain the knowledge, you just have to quiet the mind. Find some type of meditative skill that can allow you to recall the memories. But you don't need to become a yogi at all, to feel that pull, because you already do. You feel it. And every time you say, I've been here before, every time you feel a heartbreak that makes logical sense, and every time you look someone and feel, haven't we done this already? Because you have. You really have. This isn't about proving reincarnation. It's about understanding why you suffer, and then how to stop it. Because when you stop blaming this life for what began in another, you actually start to heal. You stop asking why this happened to me, and you start asking, what part of me still needs to see this? Are you seeing? Karma isn't cruel at all. It's a correction. Reincarnation isn't a glitch at all. It's grace. And Shanti Devi was not a fluke. She was a mirror, and she was showing us, we don't die when we die. We die when the lesson is learned, and not a moment before. I hope this helps. Thanks a bunch, guys. Namaste.